Am I the a-hole for not going to my sister's wedding? A 4-year update. My sister is getting married and has banned my service dog from her wedding and reception. I have a fairly severe anxiety disorder. To combat this, I got a service dog. My dog has made major positive change in my life. I can go places again. Another thing to keep in mind, my dog is probably an Australian Shepherd. Border Collie mix. She is also the most chill, laid-back, and affectionate dog I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Her entire personality is sleep. And Can I has pets? She's insanely well-behaved, especially when we go places. I get lots of compliments about this, including from the mental health professionals that work with me. My sister's reasoning for banning my service dog, and I quote,
"I don't want dog hair on the most expensive dress I will ever wear."
My sister is also worried about my dog's behavior, like barking or getting into food. My dog really does not do either of these things. Well, she barks if my sister's kids come over because she loves my sister's kids and is excited about them. She also used to lick my sister's kids' faces because they are very small, but my sister didn't like this. So I made my dog stop doing it. My dog is trained not to bark when she is wearing her vest. She has never done so while working. She responds well to the word no and the leave it command. Again, super well-mannered dog. She legit just lays down when we go to the movies or a doctor's appointment and chills out or just falls asleep. My sister believes none of this and has barely seen my service dog in action. After my sister decided this, both my parents and I have tried to compromise. My dog does shed, but there are ways to combat this, like a groomer, anti-shed shampoo, a good brush out the day of, and staying away from my sister. On that day, my sister is unyielding. Now the wedding is small and at a church that I dislike. Because when I went to talk to a pastor about this situation, he basically told me to outgrow having an anxiety disorder. So that's stressful. And of course, there are people I don't know there. The reception would be even worse for me because it will be loud, full of people, most of whom I won't know, and full of people who stress me out. Most of my extended family and I are iffy on the getting along front. Probably has something to do with being the liberal ace envy cousin. We'll also say, my anxiety and depression have been super high for the last year or so. So as much as it pains, I cannot go to my sister's wedding. My mental health is not that stable. Enough. I need my service dog's assistance in all public spaces in order to live as best life as I can. I am going with some church friends to a planetarium. Instead, she has been informed of this. Not going is probably going to hurt her feelings and strain our already strained relationship. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. My dog is trained to do pressure therapy. She uses her weight to ground me to prevent or shorten anxiety attacks. This is done by leaning, laying, or sitting on me. Sorry, I should have mentioned this on set.
Update 4 years after.
4 years ago, my sister banned my service dog from her wedding. Let's get a few things out of the way. Taro is an Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix, black and brown brindle, and the calmest, most friendly dog I have ever met. Taro is trained to do sensory grounding. My disabilities are mental, health-related. I'm in therapy. I finally found a medication combo that works. I'm in a safe environment where I can heal. I have no contact with my siblings. I'm starting with my brother because it's a shorter story. Brother is controlling and verbally abusive. When I went to college, I learned 2 things. I have disabilities and how to say no. My brother does not like the latter and blames the former. I told him flat out that if he wants a relationship with me, he needs to get therapy. Then when he tried to text me after that, I'd send a therapy-related gif. Last time we had an actual conversation, he said,
"I preferred you before you thought you were broken."
I blocked him. Not for the first time, but this time it's permanent. Now to my sister. Oh dear ghost, my sister. There is, of course, about my sister banning my service dog from her wedding. Why? Quote,
"I don't want dog hair on the most expensive dress I will ever wear."
she and her husband have never liked Taro. They are also convinced my disabilities are fake. That pattern has continued. Before this even happened, I wasn't allowed to visit my sister in the hospital after her C-section with my nephew. She claimed that it was because service dogs cannot go in the maternity ward. This is false. Before Taro was the Phantom of the Opera incident. My sister and I were both music nerds. We've actually played in a local orchestra together. I'm obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. PO2 was coming to my state one year, and I asked if she wanted to go. She did. She got tickets. I was gonna pay her back. A couple months before the show, I noticed a charge that I didn't make. On my bank card, I did not react well. I was afraid of either fraud or my dad doing something, as he's done things without telling me before. I was having a panic attack and was very bad at managing my behavior during those back then. Therapy has helped. I called frantic and pissed. Turns out my sister and her now husband had bought a movie on Amazon using my card by accident. Her husband got pissed that I was freaking out over a relatively low charge. I'm not sure if I apologized. She called me back a few minutes later and told me she wasn't going to go to Phantom because it was obviously too expensive for me. That hurt. After crying my eyes out and talking to a friend, I called her back and said,
"We can go. You can take a friend to the show, or I can buy the tickets from you."
She chose the last one, so I went with my best friend, my sister's husband. continues to be a bastard. My parents and I are both seeing emotionally abusive behavior. There are problems that have happened between him and my parents, but those aren't my stories to tell. However, their treatment of my parents is one of the reasons that I stopped wanting to talk to her. Then there's the great Christmas fiasco. My parents used to make prime beef for family Christmas. In an attempt to include my sister's husband, our dad offered to let her husband cook the prime beef. He did. Everyone went over to my parents' house. We did gifts in the morning. My niece got a little robot dog with fake treats. At the time, my parents had a 15-year-old Shishan named Oreo. Two things about Oreo. He had significant vision loss at this time, and he was obsessed with food. So I asked my sister's husband if we could put the fake treats up. So Oreo, not Taro, would not eat them because Oreo would. My sister's husband flipped out about my dog. I was overstimulated, so I didn't hear much of it. Then I took a nap, which was planned and approved before I went over. When I woke up for lunch, my sister's family was gone. My sister's husband told me through my sister that it was because of Taro. He told my mom that it was because he didn't like that she took pictures of him. He apparently doesn't like being in photos. I have no idea why. My parents doesn't use social media, so it's not because he's worried about that. After that, I tried to keep in contact with my sister. I'd call, she never answered. I'd text, no reply. I would literally ask if she was alive. Nope, nothing. She would break plans with my parents if she found out that I was going to be there. Last time I saw her was 2 Halloweens ago. Before then, my older nephew got a golden retriever puppy, which is hilarious. She's gonna have dog hair in her house for at least 2 more years. My younger niece and nephew love my older nephew's dog. They also love Taro and would pet her once, very gently, and then laugh. When they came over that Halloween, my sister wouldn't let her kids, especially my niece, near my Taro. My niece was wearing a white Elsa dress. The final nail in the coffin. I was in the hospital with pneumonia. My mom or dad stayed with me in the hospital to help with Taro. I couldn't take her outside as I could barely breathe and was attached to oxygen and an ER. My sister needed something from my parents' house and called my mom. I talked to her for about 5 seconds. When my mom said that I was in the hospital, well, apparently the reason she needed something from my mom's house is because her husband decided to move. My sister didn't bother to tell me. It made me realize just how unwelcome I was in her life and how I wasn't willing to be hurt by her anymore. I decided to block her. It's not something I did on a whim. I had been talking about it with my therapist for a while. We talked about if this was a relationship worth putting energy into. It finally hit the point where it wasn't. That's where things stand. My mom is being supportive as best as she can be about my disabilities. Dad basically ignores they exist. Pretty much everyone else we encounter, from extended family to friends to strangers, are perfectly fine with Taro and I. So we have only been sticking with the people who accept us. Edit. Reread my post, and I think I forgot to mention that my sister doesn't think anxiety and depression are real, that I can choose to just stop being depressed or having an anxiety. If I had an off switch, I would never turn it back on. She thinks that I am faking needing Taro. For the record, faking needing a service dog makes no sense to me. Training takes a lot of work. Having a dog in public access is very challenging. The world isn't built for disabled people. For instance, I like to swim. I have to go to an indoor pool because I do not want my dog in the 100 degrees plus weather for a long period of time, which is more expensive. My parents are being very nice and helping pay for a membership at a place with an indoor pool. They and I agree that I need to work on being a bit healthier. I carry a 15 pounds portable kennel to the pool and a blanket for my dog. It's huge and cumbersome. I use it so people will leave her alone. I could put Taro on the blanket and she'd happily watch everyone from there. But people still wouldn't leave her alone. Experience spoken from. Then there's the big issue, finding a job that's compatible with a service dog. There are lots of job openings, but most of them are medical, food service, or manufacturing. The health department has a problem with the first two, and the second is dangerous for my dog. I have been out of work since 2024. It's 2026. I am hoping to find a job soon. I had a long conversation with my older nephew about how I can't just leave Taro home to go to work. I'm not sure if he understands, but I hope he does. We are talking a little bit.
Relevant comments.
Thank you. Having validation like this really helps on the days that I am blaming myself for what had happened. Her husband being a grade A POS is definitely part of the problem. Thank you. I regret to inform you that I know she is mean. I wouldn't say that they deserve each other's hateful company. We are pretty sure that my sister's husband is at least emotionally abusive. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Her hate is being heavily influenced by his. I've always seen the red flags. I think he knows. Still, while this is the reason, and sometimes people are blind to the abuse that they are experiencing through no fault of their own, it doesn't excuse my sister's behavior. She's making her choices. I hate it, but there's nothing that I can do. She has to pull herself out of that relationship. I hope she does. Doesn't mean I want her in my life again. My family are more like conservative and unwilling to learn, which is probably synonymous with unintelligent now that I am thinking about it. I shall give Taro a hug from you. Having been separated from them both for the last half of a year has really let me process my emotions about it. I'm currently thinking about if I want reconciliation, and I'm leaning towards no. It would take a lot of work on their end, and I don't think they will ever do it. I have never seen someone say that mental health has physical problems this way before, and it's eye-opening. Also, stealing the brain explosions thing. I'm doing my best. I have a great support network who are with me through all of this. Thank you.